What's up? What's up? Wonder where I got this Granger shirt on for. I'd rather rock no shirt than the fucking Granger shirt. Just cause it ain't my brand. How's everybody doing? Hope life is treating you well. Hope doors are opening for you. Hope fortune and luck is finding you. Hope that every thought that's coming to your way is positive, is beneficial, is empowering to your well being. Things going on deck, the Aunt Bishop. Wanted to touch on some stuff. Want to chop it up real quick. It had been a little bit. So I had gave a series of videos. Wanted to stop just consuming content and want to make sure I put back into a pot. May not be seen by anybody, but it's at least in the ether, it's in the atmosphere. And that goes a long way in people being able to download those new realizations, just like I'm able to download people's realizations. We're all exchanging, we're all part of a collective. Whether we know we're connected or not, we're all part of a collective. Anyway, I wanted to touch on a couple things. A big thing that happened this morning, that's something that would hit my spirit, was relationship dynamics. Somebody was speaking about how much relationships have been a big part of their big problem in their life, a stressor. And I said, I would probably it's been a stressor for a lot of people, a lot of individuals. I think that's by design. And per Dan Winter, who's an electrical engineer and ET historian, he spoke on how the creators of the templates of this particular human body, they were in turmoil. They were fleeing from a situation. And that situation involved a kingdom that was ruled by women. So when they got here to recolonize the place, to have it do its their work for them, that program was reinstilled, that there was no harmony between these two genders, but that there was just enough to be able to regenerate and repopulate the slave race, but not enough to actually have harmony and inherent harmony, I should say, um, between the two. It's just a constant division that has to be consistently corrected. And I was just mentioning that this is about design, because there's a lot of people that have gone through relationship turmoil. Some people never bounce back from their relationship turmoil. If it ends in heartbreak, if it ends in breakup, some people never bounce back from that. It rules their entire lives. And it's unfortunate, because that's not how you want to live your life, based off of a situation that happened in the past. But it becomes such a catastrophic event, that they can't get an emotional threshold beyond it. They don't know how to. They don't know what to do. And that's sad. That's unfortunate. That's something that needs to be spoken on and needs to be addressed on a more common basis, like on an everyday basis, because it's everyday people have dealt with heartbreaks, but they don't know how to actually heal from it. They don't know what to do about it. So anyway, it's just a big thing, because I think that the premise of it is deeper, and it also allows us to really acknowledge these different dynamics between different types of males and different types of females, and also how to identify these distinctions, and then to be able to bridge more of the likenesses, so that way you can have more harmonious unions. Even though opposites attract, likenesses also attract, and they hold as a firm bond too, especially when it's a conscious intention there, and not just a external force, or just a reaction, but actual intention there. And now you have a whole different dynamic that's taking place. And I think these are the type of unions and bonds that are being built and are being formed right now. And it may come about in various types of ways, but like, not everybody may be on the same spiritual vibration, but they are on the same emotional vibration, or they're stable in their desire to want to build with somebody who also wants to build with them, and not just use them or just take from them. I mean, we have a lot of relationships that involve a lot of people that are takers, and it's not enough givers that are linking up and syncing up with givers. But that was just something that ended up happening as a conversation, because I feel like it's a very important thing that has to become everyday conversation. It has to become fundamental in our understanding of society. These relationships, these romantic and intimate relationships, as well as a deeper understanding of parental relationships, parent-child relationships, for sure. But certainly, these intimate and romantic relationships need to be understood deeper on a as early as possible. And obviously, we have to start off to be a platonic and understand the platonic relation between the different sexes, and that can escalate and elevate and mature into other relations. Nobody, you're not really getting a fundamental explanation of these sorts of dynamics early on, especially on the spiritual sense as well. And that's to a discredit to humanity, because you are a spiritual being that's operating a physical body. You're operating a physical body as a spirit. So you need to understand these dynamics of the physical body, so that way you can understand how your spirit is being affected, because it is affected. Um, yeah, but I love women. I love the the relation, the exchange of care, and the exchange of energy that's taking place. That feeling of excitement, and that feeling of intrigue and mystery that's being unveiled. Of a person is being unveiled in fragments, and it's such an amazing experience to be able to have. And not everybody gets to have those experiences. So some people take them for granted, but some people can't have them. They don't know how to relate, as much as other people do. So they don't have as much relations as some people do. But it's such an extraordinary thing, such an incredible thing. There was something else that I wanted to speak on in particular. That was the premise of this. It's about if that's the title and the description. Like people, people will often they'll mistake your situation if you're not in your space of success yet. They'll analyze it as though um, you're not tuned in, but but the lion's den is as far as like the quote unquote biblical story of there's an individual named Daniel who was in the lion's den, and he ended up coming out of it, and then the lion's den eat him or nothing like that. But it was like him being in that situation was divine alignment for the time. And that's something that's very important to analyze, is when people lose the ability to see you as your best potential, and then begin to look at you as though um, you're not divinely aligned, and that you're not going to be in a space of great success and abundance very soon before they know it. People fail to do that often because they lack discernment, and they typically are putting their potential on you, and they are keeping that, like they can't see you getting out of whatever situation that you're in, or they can't see you elevating because they can't really see themselves elevating. Because if they could see themselves elevating, and they could see you, who you are, they would be able to see you more clearly. Especially if you've been a contributing factor in their work. But it's not. It's important for you to hold true to your alignment and knowing where you are going, and not allowing someone to jeopardize that uh, field of creation that you cast out in your world. Um, and I've made the mistake of doing that before, where I've kind of joined my vision with someone else's, and then they don't see us. And I found out, though, through self-analysis, though, it was from my projections of them. It was my internal projections that they were assuming, uh, that they were perceiving as not being accepted in fullness, and therefore rejecting me, because that's how they felt, and that's what I was subtly putting out, even though that wasn't my intention. But these are the dynamics that are important to understand, as an individual and as a man. Um, like as a man, it's something we really like hold dear to us, is our freedom and our ability to maneuver, and not be tied down. So it's important to make that right decision. Of course, when you make a decision to be tied down, and some people are not some people won't be secure in you not making that decision, but interacting with them, and that's understandable. That's a tough situation to be in when if you've interacted with somebody on a degree and you've started to focus on them, but then they're not focused on you, then it becomes like, well, you feel like you're it's not balanced, and it's almost like you're not being taken advantage of, but it just doesn't feel good because the energy isn't reciprocal. So it's just a lot of dynamics there that I have to work through personally, and personal barriers when it comes to relationships, um, that are you can only work on them when you're in relationships. Um, so it's a challenge to ensure that everybody's up to the challenge, because it's challenges on both sides, and but at the same token, you don't want to force things either. So it's about knowing that line to when you're forcing something, and then when something just is in the stage of integration, but it's in the stage of integration, but it's going to become smoother. You know what I mean? Because I haven't had a lot of long term relationships. I had a lot of like fling sort of things or just interactions, and but I've studied long term relationships because I want to have those. And this is something that I found to be consistent amongst those that I've had those relationships. They're like, there was plenty of times where I didn't know if this was going to be the one. I didn't know if she had it. If she was feeling me like that, or if she was looking at me like that, or if she had what it took for me to be satisfied completely. But and we even took some time apart. We even took some space, but um, and we came back together and realized this is the one for me. This is who feels right for me, uh, and I'm willing to work on this as much as you are. And they figure it out, and and that's not to say it's absolutely smooth from there on, but it's smoother because you have somebody that you're in the trenches with now, and you're really building towards working towards something. And so that's a that's a part of the process. And it's just such a big risk. It's just such a big risk because it's people that you know. I think it's just about being clear about what you expect out of a relationship, and trying to find values, trying to find more common ground, and the more common ground you can find, then the better the relationship can be. You know, because there are people that you get in relationships with people, and then or you see relationships, and then down the line they all mess around and just fall apart. So everything has its purpose. And I think the main thing is just making sure that you continue to grind, and you'll find those that are meant to be in your world for whatever season they're meant to be in your, and just enjoy the moments that you have with people. And I think that's the best thing, and try to be um, too big on expectation or the possessiveness of a situation, or of a certain outcome or of a certain person, because that's what really leads to um, the heart being, going through this turmoil. Is because you have placed a certain type of expectation. You know what I mean? And and you're not in control of everything. It's one thing when you're in control of more variables, but when you're dealing with a whole other person, it's really difficult to predict what may happen. You can't. So it's in your best interest to just enjoy every moment that you get to spend with people, and that you connect with, and that you resonate with, and that you enjoy their presence, they enjoy your presence. You have just have great times, and enjoy every one of those moments. Who knows when they will end, or how they will end, or why they will end. Um, but we know that changes are constant, and it could be many types of changes. So the main thing is enjoying the journey and enjoying the adventure of it all, and projecting um, the best into your world so that you experience the best, and not expecting patterns and repeats of patterns. Don't expect repeats, but project new creations and new circumstances and new adventures. And, you know, This the most joy filled experiences and opportunities to be have. And that's what we want to stay mindful of, and stay mindful of the feeling of that. And in your mind's eye, find different ways to envision how would that play out in your world. You know, play out going to different festivals with different friends. You know, play out watching movies with play out watching documentaries with different friends, learning an instrument with different friends, maybe having practice time. I'm big on wanting to do things like that, like want to learn things with somebody special, especially my queen. I feel like that's something that I want. That's like a high joy for me. It's like not just making love and enjoying each other intimately, but also like growing together in some way or form. You know, you can be entertained too, but I feel like being able to grow together in some way, in multiple ways, ideally, but in some way, it's like that's the relationship that I want. You know? And being able to communicate clearly and effectively, you know, as well as support each other in whichever way we could be, um, you know, understand and support each other, but not necessarily be a crutch for somebody, but at the same token, just understand that nobody is perfect. You know? And when you see a fallacy, you see a fault, then you can be like, okay, well, hey, find a way to bring it to the attention of the team. You know what I mean? It's like um, that's why I always feel like it's a team sort of situation. You know, when you're in relationships, and I can kind of tell whenever things are kind of they're going to start to go some type of way because the team element isn't celebrated anymore. You know, so it's just important to some people. A lot of people aren't like they're not a fan of themselves. They don't have great internal teamwork, so it's hard for them to be a team with a great teammate with someone else. And that's what you need. You know? So it's exciting to go to experience these new fruitful relationships and find ways to bridge gaps. So that was it. I just really want to chop it up on that. You know, break some bread on that. I hope you have an extraordinary day. I wish you well. I wish you wisdom. I wish you power, understanding, and well-being in every situation. And may the love that you give be magnified exponentially and brought back into your world in as many ways as possible. May that prayer be reverberated amongst all the people around you. May healing and joy engulf your world for sure. I love you and I appreciate you and I'll speak with you soon. I just wanted to chop it up real quick. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah.